to Jack Goodchild on the blue line. He manages to get it wide to Jacob Minter. Jack Goodchild with the shot, and the Slough Jets have taken the lead on the power play with 23 seconds remaining as Jack Goodchild. It's Kane Russell with the shot cross goal. No need for the save from Lauday, and Campbell finds himself in, and it's 3-1 to the Chelsea Chieftains. They have hit back quickly. Hello and welcome to Zero Pucks Given, the UK ice hockey podcast, hosted by me, Ben Hyde.
And me, Katelin O'Piner.
Who's a little bit hanging still from the weekend, but we'll forgive her ever so slightly for that.
Me.
I can imagine there's probably some sore heads in Slough this morning, though.
Yes, so can I.
Champions, again, back to back.
Had to be done by them, didn't it? If it was going to happen, it was going to be this weekend, I think.
Well, we were talking about this earlier, actually, that I don't think either of us really realised that could do it this weekend.
When I did realise, I thought, they're going to do this.
It was because we when we spoke about the fixtures last week, it was obviously quite a big deal for me as a Chelmsford fan, and I was going that, you know, a win that night could have kept the title race very much alive. And it wasn't until I actually pondered, well, what if Slough win? I actually then thought, oh, well, hold on, if they beat Streatham on Sunday, that's it, it's all over.
Done. It is over. So the talks of having the sort of last game fiasco just ain't happening this year.
No. So it's I mean, the league title is done, but the playoff places are still up for grabs. So we've
Which
got,
is still very important.
Yeah. So Slough against Cardiff is confirmed now as a playoff quarter final.
Yeah.
You know, places have changed all over, and looking again at the table, excuse me, places can change everywhere.
Everywhere. It is so tight still. And I think the playoff places won't be confirmed till the last game of the season.
No. So we'll get through the weekend's games, and then once we've done them, we've got a lovely little phone call with Slough Jets captain Conor Redmond as well to just discuss how they celebrated winning the league title. And what they're looking forward to doing for the next few weeks now. They've actually got a weekend off coming up, which is unusual for Slough to have a weekend off. So, and then they'll come back and finish their remaining 2 league games before we go into the postseason. But news-wise, there's not been a great deal coming out of the Britton Division, but there has been a bit of disciplinary stuff from Oop North.
Yes, there has been. So Nottingham Lions player Tyler Paul has not only been released by Nottingham Lions 2, but also got a 31-game ban.
Yeah. It was, I mean, I would imagine everyone has seen the video of this.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It went proper viral for UK hockey, really. It went quite viral. And it's just it's like the purest example of a dick move.
It was just so uncalled for. Like, I didn't see it coming.
Well, I don't know what was being said. Something was obviously being said.
Yeah.
At the time.
But it was still just so, like, what was the bloody need?
Yeah, it's similar. I mean, football fans might think back to the World Cup final, I don't know, 15, 16 years ago when Zidane was being spoken to by the Italian defender and he just turned around and headbutted him in the chest. You know, you kind of think, what did he actually say to provoke that kind of reaction?
What's the drama?
But even so, if you're a sportsman of any level, you got to have a little bit of something about you to just not do that.
Yeah. It was just so weird. Like, I know there was quite a few different situations going on, but that was the sort of last thing I was expecting to actually see. I thought it was going to be a really bad hit, but no, he just stuck the stick in his eye pretty much.
Yeah, there was the butt of the stick sort of up into his face, because I know a few people have been a bit confused when they saw the band that thought it was a headbutt. It was the butt of the stick up in the face, which is a real strange one, and
very deliberate as well.
Yeah, very deliberate.
Very deliberate.
Very orchestrated. But because he was released by Nottingham Lions before that ban even come out, Tyler's going to now have to find a club to sign for to actually expire that 31-game ban.
Yeah. And with his history, I don't think another club will take him on. I mean, not even just the history, but just after that, you just wouldn't, would you?
No, I mean, we did have the incident that kind of like it was your first episode, I think, actually, wasn't it?
It was,
the Phantoms and Huskies fight, and that player was kept on by the Huskies and
after, behind the scenes,
and is back. So, you know, you can redeem yourself. That's what serving the time is for. If you get a ban, you serve it, then you come back. But for this player in particular, who has had lengthy bans before, and I think now looking at the bans that he's actually had more games banned than points he's scored in the last few years. So it might be a case of, is he worth signing?
signing, yeah, and just having the sort of drama with him there because if he's serving lengthy bans all the time, what's the point?
What's the point? Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's a discipline story is always good fun anyway.
Yes.
But to the games in the Britton Division, there was a fairly busy week, a weekend off for the Swindon Wildcats
Yes.
before they come back. But we'll start down in Solent at 5 o'clock face off, where they blued the rink down there for their prostate cancer charity night. We said last week that we cracking jerseys, really nice looking
Yeah,
jerseys,
beautiful.
and they did. There's lots of pictures come out today of the people that bought them and bought them the game worn ones and had pictures with the players, which was terrific. And a lovely picture of Alex Murray and Lee Murray with a number 3 Lee Murray shirt as well, which is great,
Yeah.
good to see. And as far as I know, I think they raised over £1,000 on the night as well, which is
Which is
terrific.
amazing. Yeah, it's so, so good for such an amazing charity.
Yeah, and they had their local country star who was actually just in watching the game, who actually did the country roads live
Country Roads
for them.
Live, yeah. Which I saw that was really good.
Yeah, that's absolutely superb, that sort of stuff. I think because obviously the last 2 country nights they've had, which we've spoken about quite heavily, where they've invited the Wildcats down and gone all country, and they've lost both times. So yeah,
Maybe
good
just
that he
don't
got.
go country and just have him all the time.
Yeah, good that they got him to sing country roads at the end, because what they did against Romford was
Was, phew,
this is old school Solent, the way that this game
yes.
went.
This is the Solent we sort of know. We
Mm.
expect this from Solent. And also I just think it's getting very close to the end of the season. They were second bottom. That is not Solent's place. Never has been. So it's like a bit of a weird one for them, but they just clearly needed to, as you say, it lock in, which they did.
Yeah, they did, and it was so tight, wasn't it, between fifth, sixth, and seventh?
It's
That
it still pretty much is,
yeah, I
but
heard
it's
it's quite tight
changed.
on games, isn't it? I think Romford have won ahead maybe of Swindon and Solent now in that thing. But yeah, when they kind of they got going really quickly as they tend to
Mm,
at home. Kane Russell won up after 5 minutes. Josh Martin doubled it after 10. And then there was a quick succession of Ollie Cackett, Cameron Buckle, Riley Panther with his first senior goal. And that, first period 5-0,
five
I think
nil. It's
kind
it's
of put
game
it to bed.
over. Yeah. I think soon as you're hitting 4 or 5 in the first period, and it's 4 or 5 nil, that's it really. It was going to take a lot for Romford to hit back.
Yeah, only one goal in the second period, and that did come from Romford in
Yeah.
the shape of Jure Hushka as well. So you'd think then at the halfway mark, if you pull one back, then it's about if you get a second one, then the old nerves might
Yeah,
start to
it's
jangle.
it's again the momentum, as we always say, the timing of scoring. If they would have scored a second goal, it's a different story. I think it would have been a lot tighter, probably
Hmm.
maybe an overtime. But soon as you're like going into the third period, 5-1 down, that's a lot to come back from.
Yeah, it is. And then into the last 10 minutes, Liam Coleman with his 17th goal of the season. Alex Murray notching another one on the score sheet. We said a couple of weeks ago he was quiet, wasn't he, this year
Quiet, yeah.
with goals. And then a brace for Riley Panther,
Is he?
senior goal, power play goal 5 minutes from the end. So terrific stuff for Riley. I think Riley actually got man of the match as well that game.
Which seems very deserved.
Yeah, they've done terrific there because they've had that issue, haven't they, with the rink, and then they've had a lot of players out injured.
Injured,
They've really used that sort of system between the junior devils and the Solent devils really, really well.
which is how it should be with every club. Like that is exactly what we bang on about having such a good pathway.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah.
yeah, and it does work quite well. So a few little roughing incidences towards the end into the last 10 minutes. It looks like there's a few players that may have got each other by the scruff
Yeah.
and had a minor disagreement or two. But 8-1 in the end for Solent. As we said, that's an old school Solent result. That is they work really hard. 41,
Worked hard, defended were hard.
yeah, 41 shots from Romford. Uh, also firing one from Aaron Taylor, and Van Mullen and Tom Adams splitting 2 periods for Tom Adams, one for Max Van Mullen. But that's a lot. I'm trying to do the maths there really quickly in my head. But I think it's 62 shots, 50, yeah, 62 shots in total. I think.
Yeah, 62 shots.
Right from the Silent Devils. So, yeah, that's a good home performance from them.
Very good
And
home
that
performance.
because Swindon having a weekend off and Romford being in that little group of three, that propelled them up to fifth,
Yes.
which is
Already, which is
as high as they
exactly.
can finish, to be perfectly honest, this
No,
year.
it is. It is as high as they can finish. So that's where they'll probably want to stay. But you do see the difference where Solent have been so short bench. They literally have a full roster.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's what's helped them.
Yeah, it makes them dangerous when they can roll on and roll off so quickly. When in that small rink, obviously, it makes a really big difference how quickly you
Yeah,
get on and off the ice. And when they've got enough players to roll four lines, they're a dangerous prospect for anybody.
yeah, very dangerous. And it's a shame that they haven't been able to have a full roster every game because this is the Solent obviously everyone wants to, well, not everyone wants to see, but this is the Solent we want to see,
Mm,
and we just haven't got it because of the injuries and stuff. So it's nice to see Solent back to winning ways.
absolutely, yeah. And now pushing on into the playoffs, where they are sitting in fifth at the moment into the last couple of weeks, looks like they will probably go head to head with Invicta again.
Victor, which is annoying actually. So
But
annoying,
but I think
but
for the fans, I mean,
that's going to be a good game.
it would be terrific for the fans, and if they can make it to Sheffield, that'd be astonishing for them.
Yeah, that'd be
Um,
insane, especially after the struggle that they have had.
yeah, and I do know. I think the last time they were at the final, not the Ali Pally finals, when they were at Milton Keynes before, the guys were actually going. They went home on the Saturday night after winning the semi final, and then came back on the Sunday.
That's nuts.
Absolutely crazy. But then we moved down to the hangar for on Saturday night where I was, and
You were.
but I was there very expectant as a Chelmsford fan, thinking
This is it. This is going to be a good
this
game.
this is the one that's going to push the title towards the final day of the season, and a Chelmsford versus Slough game at the Riverside to decide who's the king of the Britton Division, and it,
Wasn't.
it just didn't go that way at all.
No, I think 10 minutes in, you actually messaged me and said, this is game over.
Yeah, nothing was working. Nothing did work. Brandon Stone started in the pipes. I think that lasted all of 10 minutes, and then he was pulled. Miller was put in. It was a very strange performance, for considering the importance of the game.
Probably the biggest game of the season.
Yeah, 100% the biggest game of the season, and yeah, nothing got going. Nothing, but I don't think it was as it was a hell of a mixture. I spoke to a lot of Slough fans that night. They're all lovely people, come up and said some lovely things whilst I was there. But it was a mixture of Chelmsford being bad and Slough being incredibly good
Yeah, incredibly
that
good.
made the gap so large.
Which is sort of what happened like a few months back when I was there and it was 11-3. It sounds very similar, where just nothing was working for Chelmsford. Slough were just on top.
Mm.
And I think when Slough are on top and, if they knew that they won on Saturday and they could win Sunday, that they'd win the league, it they sort of probably put more effort in. Like they wanted it. You could tell they want it through obviously the score sheet, but
Yeah,
from what you said as well to me off air, they clearly wanted it.
they were ferocious. The speed of the forecheck and how high it was as well, and never just one player
Mm,
going up on the forecheck. It was always two or three. They were sort of hunting in packs, pushing the puck into the corners where the Chelmsford D men then had very little options of where to clear it. They were picking it off, turning it over, knocking it back into the crease where another jet was flying in out of nowhere and scoring. It was a absolute textbook turnover really of everything.
yeah.
And I think I'd said earlier when we were talking about it, it was like they Chelmsford got old manned by young men because it was textbook stuff, playbook stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, and the
Clearly something was
plays.
just off.
Yeah, the play every time the puck broke down, the plays were so well orchestrated, and it was two or three players all going at the same time, and then pass, really, really fast. The movement. I mean, for people who have seen, ironically, this is a jet metaphor or analogy, but if you've seen Top Gun, and when they show the dogfighting scenes, and the jets are all like moving around like that and rolling over each other, that's what it's like when they come forward. They're just all over the ozone. It's like Charlies and bogies all over this place where they're all over the ozone, and you just can't get hold of them. And from that, I mean, the way that they won the game and the way that they play as well. When I spoke to Connor, we'll listen to that a little bit later. I said to him, it was actually, despite the fact as a Chelmsford fan, I was gutted to lose the game. It was a real privilege to see a team playing that well in front of their nice big crowd that were very loud as well. Terrific atmosphere on the night, and a really terrific performance from eventual league champions.
Yeah. It's just clearly one of them nights where it just clearly nothing was working for Chelmsford. And, I think Slough going into the Sunday knowing that this could be the winning like game for them of like the league, I think that probably boosted them.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Yeah, I mean, going through the goals, Dylan Holliker. sort of a real nice little shot through traffic from just sort of short of the point to make it 1-0 on 3 minutes. And then Lewis English, to my memory now, thinking back, that was a turnover in the like over the goal line, and then it got tucked back, and Lewis was able to stick it in. Regan O'Neill got a really nice tip in off of a Callum Wells shot to make it 2-1. And then Ollie Hemmings-Marr he just ran absolute riot against Chelmsford. So fast, so skillful.
Mm,
He got the third goal. And then on the power play, Christian Moore, really nice finish at the back door, nice and high up into the top shelf as well. Then into the second, Chelmsford actually started the second really, really well. They put Slough under real pressure. They started it on the power play. I think the stats actually say that it was Cameron Bartlett that scored. And in fact, even the Chelmsford website says that. But we were all stood down by that goal, and it was definitely Grant that came across from the right hand side, kind of faked the slap shot, come inside, and then backhanded it top shelf. It was a really, really nice finish. And then that was, as we said, about momentum and time.
momentum.
That was the point. If they'd have got another one there,
It's different.
it would have been a completely different game. But they weren't able to get it. Ben Ely Newman got a really, I'm not going to say lucky, but I think his shot was well hit, but it bounced up off of Ross Miller's head and kind of
Went back.
landed behind him. So it was an unfortunate one to concede. Marcus Mitchell got one from close range as well. Again, I think that was another turnover. And then Juha Lindgren with probably the best goal of the night, to be fair, putting it right up in the top corner on the power play. Then Ollie Hemmings-Marr got a couple of close range ones to do his hat trick before Cam Bartlett took a nice low slap shot at the end. The hat trick goal from Ollie Hemmings-Marr was short-handed as well, which
Slough are sort of renowned for doing
yeah, we've
this.
always said how dangerous they are short-handed, and no one ever wants to concede a short-handed goal. They did score short-handed in the first period as well, but it was washed out. I think there was a collision with Brandon Stones, and it was the refs kind of washed it out almost immediately. You'd love to see it almost so fast. You'd love to see a replay off the first glimpse of it. I couldn't really see what was wrong with it. Fair play to the refs if they did indeed call that right. But yeah, 9-3 in the end. So really, really
Dominant performance from
yeah,
Slough.
dominant and comprehensive performance from Slough, leaving them the opportunity to go to Streatham on Sunday night and
Win
wrap
the
it all
league.
up there. Which that's where they won the cup as well, was in Streatham. So
Yeah.
I did speak about that with Connor actually, that they've managed the two trophies they've managed to win so far this season have both been on the high road. So that must have been nice for them. But yeah, so disappointing as a Chelmsford fan,
Yeah.
in the performance, but
Clearly, just something weren't right because I mean, Chelmsford only having 20 shots in a game is unheard of.
mm,
I think, they're never shooting that low in a whole game. But the stats sort of say how the night went. So I can imagine what it's like to be a Chieftains fan, just disappointed really.
yeah, it was, and that for Chelmsford, I think made the league over. I think at that point they then can't make the league, and then moving on to the last game of Saturday in Cardiff, where Streatham made that very very long trip on a coach, and I did see a fantastic picture of Zara, the Streatham social media lady, who fell asleep on the coach. And
Away day sleepers.
they got a good picture of Zara asleep. But yeah, so Streatham actually went there, and when you look at the stats and look at the way that the game's gone, you don't think, oh, they took their foot off the gas, but this is just let's get this game won. Let's not
One.
go too crazy. Let's not risk injuries. Let's not risk any kind of
Yeah, not worth it.
fatigue for Sunday night. Let's just get the game won.
And also you could take it in a way of Cardiff actually defended really well as well.
Yeah, which they have been doing of late a
Recently, yeah,
lot
they
better.
have. They have. You think when they were conceding like 15 plus goals nearly like twice a month, um, only conceding three against Streatham and also scoring one, which, I think they'd be really happy with that.
Absolutely, yeah. So one goal on 16 shots against Dominic Ray, who was in the pipes for Streatham, and Gemma Davis celebrating her 30th birthday weekend with 63 shots or 63 saves.
66.
Yeah,
Yeah,
66 shots
56
in total,
shots.
63 saves across the night for a really really quiet night for the penalty box.
Hmm.
Just a little tilt at the end there between Jasper Quinn and Ethan Lane. But again, it's the same, moving that goals around Streatham where, there's only one Streatham player that's in the top 8 of point scorers because they've really spread the points
It's
out.
just everyone's scoring.
Mm.
Like I actually want to know in that Streatham squad who hasn't scored. That's what I want to know because I feel like they all have.
I think they're probably all, they might all have a goal. We'll look at that.
We'll
Definitely
look at
look at that for
that.
next week. Right, on to Sunday then. And there was a couple of games Sunday. There were 3 actually, in fact, so leaving us a 6-game weekend. But
Yes. First one.
the 6 o'clock face off. There was a 6 o'clock face off in Streatham and in Chelmsford, but we'll start in Streatham, where the
Slough.
champions elect made their visit.
Yes. Slough Jets landed.
Yeah, they did. They very much landed with this. I mean, funny enough, if you look at the box score, you immediately think that directly under the goals is the team sheets, but that's not. That's the penalty list.
That's the penalty list, yeah. There is quite a few.
Yeah, so
There is 109 penalty minutes.
yeah. What does that say to you? Because that says to me, let's just rough them up.
Yeah. It's sort of like it as well. It starts from 3 minutes in.
Yeah,
So, and it's 0-0 at that point. So it's not a "Oh, we're losing, we're going to go for you" moment. This is a game that everyone wants to fight in.
yeah. And to be fair, I mean, if you look at this, some of the, obviously Luke Smith's name appears. Of course, it does. It's a penalty list. But Jacob Minter, strong, tough young lad getting involved early with a bit of slashing. There's a bench penalty for abuse. Love that. And then you've got Lewis
There's
English.
English, Neil
He
Lydiard
loves it. Lids loves it. Marcus Mitchell obviously loves it.
loves it. Benny Lee
Ben Lee
Newman
Newman back at
loves
his
it.
former club. Would have been playing against his brother. I think as he was last year. I think, although he's gone to Haringey now, isn't he? But so a lot of fun there. And but I'm yet to see a video, but a nice fight between Ben Ely Newman and Dylan Dix.
Yeah, I'm yet to see a video of that. So
Yeah,
if
yet to
anyone
see a
does have a
video. So
video, please
it might not have
post
been a
it.
good one.
Yeah, or just no one filmed
Yeah.
it.
Oh, I highly doubt that. Not at Streatham these days. There's
Yeah, selling out all the time.
selling out and lots of media attention. Funnily enough, actually, we had a very brief conversation last week where we spoke about Katie Shanahan from Talksport being there, who is
Yes,
England Commonwealth medalist, gold medalist, I believe, actually, in field hockey. So we might be doing a little something with her, trying to get her to play ice hockey, which will be interesting.
which would be fun.
But aside from all the penalties, there were 4 goals in this game,
All from Slough.
all from Slough.
Yes, and I sort of look at the names on the score sheet and think, yeah, that don't shock me.
No, they're like you say, and these names, they're all interchangeable normally between the goal scoring and the assisting. So that's how beautifully that it all works together for Slough. It's Christian Moore for me is one of the most talented players we have in this league.
In the league, yeah, so versatile.
Yeah, terrific to watch. Benny Newman he's had a bit of a renaissance for me at Slough.
Mm.
He was always really good at Streatham. He was always a tough player, would always get amongst the goals. But yeah, that role he plays at Slough, he's become
He just fits in perfectly.
He fits in perfectly.
That is when they signed him, that is the player that they needed.
Yeah.
Because he's not only, like a physical player, he's so talented and skilled. And that is exactly what you need to slot into a younger side.
Well, that's why this Slough dynasty almost is not really a surprise, because you've got these young lads, the Moores, the Hemmings Mars, Jacob Minter, and this is all without Jack Goodchild as well.
Yeah, they haven't had him all season.
All season. And when that team made the semi-finals at Ali Pali a couple of years ago, and you were like, they're nearly there. But the young players are spending too much time in the penalty box, and that's what's costing them. And then when they started announcing their signings, and you're like, Brandon Miles, top signing.
Yeah.
Benny Lee Newman, top signing. And Alex Cole, top signing. And
they're like the 3 people that have sort of it's fixed it.
Yeah.
It's fixed the problem that was there.
Yeah, and it's proven, because now they've won the league twice back to back, which is absolutely superb. So a 4-0 victory in the end, a double from Juha Lindgren, the opening goal from Christian Moore, and Ben Ely Newman getting on the power play
Second,
goal as well. An empty netter from Juha at the end. So with
Stratton were clearly,
there's
and that's at 56-51. So
yeah.
they've took whoever was in goal. Who was in goal? Brett Shepherd out very. I mean, it's not early, but I'd say that's early on for.
Yeah, I think if you're 2-0 down, you probably wait a little bit, don't you? But when it's 3-0 and you want to try and
Yeah, I
go,
suppose. Yeah.
yeah, which I'm thinking, like looking back to the timing of the fight, and you can see that Josh Ely Newman has got, sorry, beg your pardon, Ben Ely
Ben.
Newman has got a check to the head penalty that maybe the fight was like a
Reaction. Yeah.
reaction to that. But then timing wise, you're thinking, is that what Streatham needed? Did they need a fight to get everyone up and go in? But yeah, so in the
It
end,
didn't matter.
4-0, a fantastically professional performance. And yeah, I'm yet to see any videos of like the celebrations. Yeah, actually, the gloves in the air and all skating over to the goal and stuff, which
Yeah,
is always good to see. So yeah, Streatham do put a cracking highlights package together. So I'm sure when Chris Beale is done with that, we'll be able
we'll see it. Yeah.
to get a good look. Other game on Sunday at Chelmsford, they had the Essex Derby. So Romford were in town. Romford always bring it for Chelmsford. It's always an
I mean,
exciting
previously this
game.
season they didn't, but I mean, it sort of looks like it this game.
Yeah, it was a little bit tighter than the ones had been previously. I mean, particularly, I think it was last season. Apart from the playoff game, but playoff games rather between the two, every game between the two in the league was settled by one goal, so it
On
wasn't
goal,
properly
yeah.
tight. But
Yeah, well, it was just tighter than the game that they had previously this season because that
yeah,
was that was rather, Romford didn't turn up at all. But I think as well, Chelmsford from the night before, they would have been fuming with themselves. Absolutely
a
livid.
reaction would have been
Reaction was
absolutely
what they
needed.
needed. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think if you're not reacting to your local rivals, just what would have happened, I don't know. Um, but no, clearly they did what they needed to on Sunday night. First goal coming from Cam Bartlett at 12 minutes. So that's that's quite
took a
late
little bit.
on.
Yeah, it took a little bit of
Took a little
time.
bit.
I'm not too sure. Obviously, I didn't make it Sunday. I rarely do two games a weekend, but I would imagine the atmosphere was a little bit subdued actually because of Saturday's performance. So
Yeah.
there was a big chunk of Chieftains fans that had travelled to Slough, and then the rink was fully sold out on Sunday. So I would imagine that the atmosphere may have been slightly subdued to start with. But so once that first goal went in, I'd imagine everyone got up, especially being on the power play. Power play's not been brilliant for Chelmsford so far this year, but so when you score on one, it is always
It's always
bit more
good, yeah.
exciting. But then, as you say, it could have actually gone
Either
completely the other
way,
way when Megas Canis equalises for Romford right at the start of the second period.
right at the start, yeah. And sort of it's then again momentum, time of scoring, who scores next.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and then also the one after, so Holden Barnes Garner getting the second for Chelmsford, then Ewan Morrison, the Canadian, getting the third
Yeah.
at 33. And then they score very close. Well, Alexander Maltsev comes out of it very close after Ewan Morrison's goal, and then it sort of just dies down completely.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I say, it wasn't there, so I couldn't say as
Couldn't
to
see it, yeah.
why that was like that. But there must have been a reason for it.
Yeah, just clearly defending well from both sides.
Yeah, from both sides. Both sides had similar amount of players available. So 26 shots on the Chieftains, 33 on Romford. So maybe a little bit more of a scrappy game, maybe in the neutral zone
Yeah,
was contested mostly. But
very
regardless of
light
that,
on discipline as well.
yeah, very light on discipline. Ross Miller taking the full 60 for the Chieftains, and Owen Ryder taking the full 60 for the Buccaneers in Max Van Mullen's jersey, I believe, because I have seen some pictures. And I thought it was Max in goal, but it was in fact Owen Ryder. So yeah, Cameron Bartlett with a excuse me, the goal tally this year is just phenomenal. 32
Yeah.
with that goal there, and this is going by the fact that they've labelled him down of having two on Saturday night when I think it may have only been one, but that'll come out in the wash at the
I
end of the
mean,
season.
I don't think he'll care whether it was his or not, as long as it's gone down on his name.
Yeah, absolutely. But we did have a few messages from the scorers who were in the top eight that we released saying, "Oh, I'm sure it's more than that." And I'm saying, "Yeah, but I think these are just league only and they don't include the weekend that's
Include,
just gone."
yeah.
So we'll, and obviously once the end of the season comes, we'll do a completely up to date scoring, defense stats,
When we've
goalie
got
stats
every stat
of
pack
everybody
possible.
in this league, and of course we'll do our pick your team of the year after the playoffs as well.
Yes.
So a 4-1 win for Chelmsford there, which they very much needed to do because, as we said, Streatham are now right behind them with a game in hand, looking for that second place. And you'd think then that what they're really fighting for is home advantage in the semi-finals of the playoffs should they get there. So really important to still finish second.
So
Final game
important.
of the weekend then, all the way up to the Vindico, where, as we said last week, Solent have struggled on that trip to Cardiff.
Well, quite a few times as well, yeah. So, sort of probably a little bit of payback and also just being on such a high after the dominant performance on the Saturday night,
Yeah, they took a really large roster up there as well, which is
which
brilliant to
again
see.
is what they've needed for so long. So it's good to see that back for them.
Yeah, and really good to see the like kind of the spread of the goals, getting 2 goals on the power play as well, which is see everyone always said well, I say everyone always says I always say Solent should never lose a home game because of that arena. But I've always agreed with Muzz when we've spoken about it. They're actually better on a bigger ice pad.
Mm.
So when that, and especially with their power play systems, because their systems are so strong and they're so well drilled, that on the
If
power
they've
play,
got more room,
yeah,
it's
they're
easy
more
to.
dangerous on a big pad, especially with their power play. And they did score 2 power play goals in the second period at Cardiff. But yeah, I think what you see a lot on a Sunday at Cardiff, particularly from a visiting team, is not foot off the gas, but it's a late Sunday night in Cardiff.
In Cardiff.
It's
Yeah, the
just
longest away trip for
I think it's
everybody.
just a bit tiring, and the bus legs might hit you a little bit late on a Sunday.
Yeah. But then again, like Lewis said when he came on the pod, his every away game is like that for them.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there isn't really an excuse.
No, no, that's very, very true. Very true indeed. So Josh Martin with the first goal on 14 minutes. Alex Murray picking up his sixth goal of the season. So I think
Maybe he
he must have
listens.
took that personally that we said he hadn't been scoring enough. And then Dan Lackey, who's missed a lot of the season with injury, so as well,
Yeah.
good to get Dan back on the score sheet there, making it 3-0 on 28 minutes. Murray's goal and Lackey's goal on the power play, as we said. Brock and Evans took the full game, 35 shots, 3 goals conceded, so 32 saves on the night. And Rory Martin Edwards getting a 27 shot shutout.
Yeah.
Little look at next week's fixtures then. As I said, Slough Jets, the reigning champions, have got a weekend
Weekend
off.
off, which is really weird because I
Really
feel like
weird for them.
they're always playing at the moment.
It's a really big game at the Sapphire when you consider how tight it is between 5, 6, and 7 in the league. Romford are going to welcome the Buccaneers for a 5:15 face-off. That was actually the very first game of the season as well. That was because I went there and I was on commentary for that game,
Yes,
and
yes,
it
yes,
was
yes.
very, very scrappy. But hopefully they're both a little bit more into it by then. And then Streatham make the trip to Cardiff 6:45 on that Saturday. Sunday,
You have the
three games.
reverse.
Yeah, the reverse: Invicta versus Romford, Chelmsford versus Solent at 6 p.m., and then Streatham versus Swindon also at 6 p.m. on the Sunday. So before we head into looking at the table, looking at the playoff bracket and whatnot, we have waxed lyrical about how good Slough were this weekend and how they've been all over the season. And after they won the league title and maybe the little sort of Monday morning hangover had disappeared, I caught up with Slough Jets captain Conor Redmond. So, Connor, waking up Monday morning, a back-to-back champion, how did that feel?
Really good, yeah. We are obviously very happy. Was a big weekend for us, 2 big performances. We knew it was going to be difficult going into it, but we were focused on both games one at a time, and thankfully we came out with the 2 wins.
Have you had your moment yet to sort of take it in? Because I remember seeing you after the playoff final in Sheffield last year, and you just took a little moment to yourself to sit on the floor and take it all in. Have you had that moment yet?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it was obviously a little bit of a rush last night because you finished the game and you're thinking, right, I need to get home. I've got to get to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. You sort of reflected last night of sort of okay, now it's real. It's really happened. Um, and yeah, we're just sort of refocusing now on the next games coming up and back to training on Wednesday. So yeah, no, it's nice to reflect on it. But obviously the job's not finished yet. We still want to put on some good performances, whether the league's wrapped up or not. And we go from there.
I mean, it's kind of worked out a bit strange actually, because I mean, before this weekend, I've got to admit, I suppose as a Chelmsford fan, I wasn't looking at this weekend thinking this is the weekend that Slough can win the title. I was looking at it
Yeah,
thinking this is the weekend that Chelmsford can make it really tight.
yeah, no, of course.
And it didn't quite pan out that way. But then, and you obviously went on to get the 6 point weekend, which, was against the other two teams in the top three. So that's an astonishing weekend.
Yeah,
And then you've got a weekend off.
yeah, no, exactly. Can relax next weekend. It's quite nice. But even with that, it almost feels a little bit anticlimactic because we kind of want to get into the celebrations and get it all started. So there's a bit of a wait for that. But again, we're just really trying to focus on our performances for those games because you want to finish the season in style. You don't want to win the title and then sort of go downhill from there. You want to keep pushing on and with good performances and results. So.
Yeah, to be fair, because you've got that weekend off, but then you've still got two hard games to finish the season up at home to Swindon and away to Chelmsford before the postseason starts.
Exactly that, yeah, and that's the thing when we're looking at our schedule. We also had quite a hard run in with the weekend just gone, Chelmsford, then Streatham, then you've got Swindon at home and Chelmsford away. And realistically, you're looking at it thinking, okay, we need to win a game at a time. But with every game that goes past, you're sort of running out of games to get the points you need. So that's why it was very important for us this weekend to get the 6 points that we needed. Sort of that wasn't really on our mind that we win these games, we win the league. But also at the same time, we were saying every game that we win, it takes us one step closer. So that was always the aim. Even looking at the schedule at the start of the season, this weekend was always a big highlight. It's close to the end of the season, and you're playing against two teams where it could really go either way. So yeah, it was good to really focus on game at a time and get the results that we needed.
Yeah, I got to tell you, we were speaking a little bit earlier today when we was organising this that I was there Saturday night for the Chelmsford game. Obviously, there as a Chelmsford fan, but
Mhm.
it was honestly such a pleasure to watch Slough in full flight as they were that night. That the speed of like Ollie Hemmingsmar, the skill of Juha and Christian Moore as they come forward. It's all come together really, hasn't it, this year? There's been a couple of iffy results, but for the most part, you guys have been pretty consistent.
Yeah, no, we have been, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? The league is played over the full season. It's not just over one weekend. And that's where even if it hadn't quite gone our way this weekend, we would still have to refocus and sort of try to finish the job in the best way we can. We did have a couple of slip ups in the season, and I think everyone sort of took that on board and thought, well, we're not going to get many more chances if we really want this to go our way. So we were very aware of that, and also just looking forward to the next games. Like you can't win games that are in 2 or 3 weeks' time. You can only win the game that's on the day that you're at. And breaking each game down into individual battles, team battles, which then takes you to the overall result. So, like I said, it's just breaking everything down and winning the moment, winning your shift, and then moving on to that, and hopefully you get the result in the end.
And moving on to a couple of weeks' time when Swindon will come to the hangar, that's when you will get the trophy and have the little
Yes.
parade. But the two trophies you've won so far this season, you've won them both at Streatham.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, very bizarre. I think if someone had told me that 2 or 3 years ago, I might have laughed at them. To be completely honest with you, but yeah, in a way, it just shows how far we've come as a group. Everyone's been learning every year, and we're growing in confidence. Obviously, last year we added a couple of new guys. Again, this year we added Marcus into the D. So yeah, we brought in Rory to replace Nate when he left. So there's always been a little bit of progression there. And everyone just buys into the way that Smiths wants us to play. And yeah, we've just kind of stuck with it and believed in ourselves, believed in each other. And thankfully, it's worked out for us.
Yeah, it has. And I had an ill-fated phone call with Smiths last week that failed to record. I'm assured that this one is recording as we speak. But to ensure that it goes out. But yeah, Smith's kind of said the same thing because I said to him, Katelin has been to see the Spitfires a few times, and it's quite clear that what's happening in Slough is like a bit of a dynasty, that everyone from top to bottom is playing in the same style and fighting towards the same goal.
Yeah, no, that's the aim, and it's great to have the Spitfires there. But you see yourself, there's a couple of guys that play up with us quite regularly. There's a little bit of a competition between themselves for who's going to get the spot, which is good. It's healthy. But it's good to have everyone sort of on the same page, and you've got a backup there. We always have a full roster every time we play, which at this level sometimes is a little bit rare for some teams. You'll see teams with short benches and things like that. But even when we went through a stage of injuries and suspensions, we always seem to still fill our roster, and everyone knows the task at hand and kind of buys into it from the start. So it's good.
For you personally, the last thing to touch on for the season, when was the last time in a season you scored 5 goals in one game?
Oh, couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. It might have been a few years ago. Yeah, probably. Yeah, or when I was in ENL2, probably. Yeah, but no, it's. I mean, that was just one of those nights that everything you touch seems to go in. So hopefully, I can do it again in the playoffs. That would be good.
Yeah, that's the first properly confirmed playoff tie. I think is that Slough will play Cardiff in the quarterfinals, which I think was the same last year. I think as well, wasn't it?
Yes, exactly. So I'll get that date circled in my diary then.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you guys will be. We were looking at the playoff bracket over the weekend, and there's no easy route. To be fair, once you get past those quarterfinals, then top 4 sides, if they all make it through, are incredibly hard to beat over 2 legs. So the experience
Yeah,
that you
no,
guys had, the experience you guys had at Sheffield last year, I'm assuming you're going to be aching to get back there and try it again, and obviously go that one step further after that overtime defeat to Billingham on the Sunday.
well, that's the aim, and you always want to better yourself. So we know where we were last year. We know what's at hand to do it this year. Again, there's nothing guaranteed, so we need to beat Cardiff in the first semi quarter final. Sorry, and then it's on to who we play next. And again, whoever we get in the semi-finals, we got to break it down game by game, shift by shift, because you can't win in Sheffield if you don't win in the semi-finals. So it's all about just taking it step by.
Absolutely. Conor, thank you so much for your time. I know you're going out for a little bit of a celebration evening tonight. Congratulations on the season so far. Obviously, the Cup and the League. Playoffs to come. Wish you all the best for it, mate.
Thank you so much, mate. Take care.
A massive thanks to Conor for spending a few minutes with me on the phone to let us know how it all went. It's, as we said, just what an incredible season for him.
Yeah, another incredible season. And, it shows that how early, well, it's not early, but how earlier they've won it this year, that they're just getting better.
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah, last year it went right to the final,
right to the end. So to sort of do it 3 weekends, 3 weekends before the season ends.
Before it ends, and I think, like as Conor said as well, it's more they're it's just where to take it a game at a time. They are kind of looking back at those games that they lost and thinking, right, let's not make that mistake again.
Yeah,
and they're learning from it, which is really, really good to see.
They've just, they deserve every single. They just deserve it.
Yeah, I think every plaudit that they get, they deserve. And as we've said, if anyone hasn't been to see Slough, even if you don't really follow this league, I would urge you to go and watch Slough.
Yeah, against anyone really. But they've just been incredible all year. So yeah.
Well, I mean, we spoke briefly there with Conor about the Steel City Showdown, and obviously last year they made it all the way to the final where they beat Streatham quite convincingly 6-0, and then lost in overtime to the Billingham Stars. I don't think they'll get a chance to go against Billingham again this year. The Billingham have had a bit of an off season,
weird season, yeah.
But yeah, I think there's a real chance that they could take all the marbles as such. Obviously, the Challenge Cup has been introduced this year because there's a limited number of teams in the league, so it's kind of to pad the fixture list as much as anything. I think they'd still be disappointed that they didn't win that, which they were, of the group of 4, Slough and Invicta were surprisingly quite poor in that competition.
Quite poor, yeah, they were. Which it's something to kick yourself over, but you probably look at it and think the league is probably more important to have.
Yeah.
So just focus on the positives rather than the negatives all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't think they'll be looking at that Challenge Cup with too much misty eyes.
No, they won the league.
Yeah, they've won the league. They've won the cup. And we'll now look to head to the Steel City Showdown. So we'll run through the table very quickly. So Slough Jets captain. That's normally what you see with the CSC. Champion. 26 games, 21 wins, overtime loss 1, overtime win 1, loss 3, 170 goals 4. And 66 points is what has done it. Chelmsford have played 26. Also, they've won 18, 2 overtime wins, 1 overtime loss, 5 defeats. They are now 7 points back. But the really important bit, as we were saying there, is Streatham in third with 25 games, 17 wins, one overtime win, two overtime losses, and five defeats. Only 4 points behind the Chieftains. Now, with that game in hand,
And this weekend, it's looking dodgy for Chelmsford.
yes, Streatham were going to play twice this weekend against Cardiff and Swindon. So you could conceivably see a 6 point weekend for
Yes.
Streatham there. And as Chelmsford only play once, they could well find themselves in third. But then they also, to keep in touch, they have to beat Solent at home, which is never easy
Which
to do.
it's not easy, no. And if they're traveling with a full roster, which they have this weekend. That could be it could be a proper dodgy weekend for Chelmsford.
It could be. And then into the following weekend, the final weekend of the season, Chelmsford then host the champion Slough Jets.
So it don't get any
It
easier.
doesn't get any easier, no. And as we said, looking at the playoff bracket there, what those two sides, Chelmsford and Streatham, will be looking at then is if we can get through the quarterfinals, you want home advantage in the semi-finals.
Of course you
You
do.
need it. It's vital. And yeah, at the moment, for me, it looks like Chelmsford, despite how well they'd done for most of the season and pushing the league title to as close as they did, could end up third.
Yeah, which we probably wouldn't have been saying this last week.
No, and that then
It's shocking, really.
yeah, because then that puts us into a situation where we say we keep going about Invicta and Solent always play each other in the quarterfinal. The semi-final has been Chelmsford Streatham for the last couple of
That's
years,
yeah.
and Chelmsford
And
just last year weren't able to get past them. Similar to how they actually did in the cup semi-final, where they lost quite heavily at home on the Saturday night. Obviously, the cup semi-final they were able to pull it out of the bag, but not the case in the playoffs. So
okay, it's no.
yeah, that is a really, really tough little look there for the last few weeks of the season for Chelmsford. Invicta has of course solid their place in fourth, 45 points from 26 games. Solent Devils are closing that gap, but they're not gonna
They're not going to no, but
they're not gonna overtake it.
they sort of went top of the three that are very tight.
Yeah,
To think they were third in this sort of little league that they have going on mid-table. Um, but played 25 and got 29 points.
yeah. So Swindon 3 points back on 26 after 25 games as well. Swindon will play uh,
Streatham.
Streatham and then Swindon play Slough. So
So
conceivably, Swindon may not be getting any more points out of those fixtures. And then Romford only have two fixtures left, so they can only get to 30 points. So one more point for Solent will secure that fifth or at least sixth for them,
yes,
providing that Swindon don't pick up any more points. And then the first guaranteed playoff game that we have is now
it's
Slough Jets versus Cardiff.
Cardiff Fire, which you sort of maybe expected.
Yeah, to be fair, I think we probably did.
Yeah, you sort of if you look at it from a season point of view from the start of the season, it's probably what you would have called. But these last few weeks have been very tight up between the top three, but it's like confirmed now that this is the first sort of leg of the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, as we stand now in the playoffs, which, like I say, in the next couple of weeks, this is all going to change, I think. But
Yes.
as we stand, it will be Slough Jets versus Cardiff in the quarterfinals. It will be Chelmsford versus Romford in the quarterfinals, Streatham versus Swindon, and Invicta versus Solent. And then the winners of Slough Jets versus Cardiff will play the winners of Invicta versus Solent, and the winners of Chelmsford versus Streatham will play the winners of Chelmsford versus Romford will play the winners of Swindon versus
This is
Chelmsford.
Streatham. Yeah.
But with only 8 teams in the league, so they're all in the playoffs, the possibility of having more teams in the league has had a little bit of a news flash tonight, actually, while we've been on. We've heard a bit of
Yes.
something out of Oxford.
Yes, we have. So Oxford Junior Stars have made a post sort of asking questions that the fans have been asking. So long story short, there is 9 more days to raise as much money as possible to make a competitive Oxford City Stars side. So, I don't know whether you take it in a doubtful way or that it could be happening next year. I'm not too sure, to be quite honest with you. I've got no idea.
It's quite cryptic, actually, the post. It's, there's questions that people have asked that need to be answered. But as you say, to leave it 9 days and not have all the funding in place
Yeah, because I don't sort of know like what would happen if the funding doesn't appear. I don't really know what's going to happen. I don't know whether it would be sort of a thing of hold fire till maybe 20, 27, 28.
Mm.
Yeah, 27, 28. That season. So I'm not too sure. So I can't really say much. But yeah, obviously, if any person is listening to this and you have a business and you're in Oxfordshire or around Oxfordshire and you do want to sponsor Oxford City Stars, please do, because I think everyone in Oxford Ice Hockey wants the City Stars back.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, because they've kind of committed to doing this pathway between juniors, rising stars, and into the City Stars,
Yeah.
it's an opportunity to get involved with a proper, real British hockey setup.
Oh yeah, proper pathway. Um, but yeah, so a bit of news, but again, not really anything certain. We're not
No,
too sure. I'm not too sure, guys.
but the statement is there. If you want to go and read it on the Oxford Junior Stars social media, you can
Yeah,
find it there and read it all for yourself. So that tucks all the games away. The league is tucked away.
the league is done.
It's
The
safely
league
tucked
is
in
done.
bed with Lucas Smittle
Yep.
yet again.
So's that.
But then, so yeah, looking into, obviously we've got some, fixtures next week that again, it's just going to reshape that playoff group, I think. So
Yes,
the
it
way the
is.
playoffs lays out is, keep coming back here for all your details. I've had a few messages from people asking me, well, what happens if this happens? What happens if this happens? And I keep telling them what's going to happen. And actually, like, you know what? I should say no. Listen.
Listen.
Listen to the episode instead, and we'll tell you on there. But yeah, so yeah, we'll be back next week to discuss all of that. Like I said, guest wise, we're going to be pretty busy with games. We're hoping to get one more guest in before the end of the regular season, and then
One
it'll
more
be
guest, yeah.
full
And
speed
also
ahead.
us two are just getting for yeah, for Sheffield. Also, another thing, just life is getting busier.
Life is getting busier. Yeah, we got. Well, I'm assuming
Life is getting busier.
the old media passes for the Still Shitty Showdown will go out soon, so we'll make sure that we get you sorted for that.
Yes, perfect. We're very excited for that, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for everyone who's been checking out the social media recently. The numbers have been really, really good. Loads of
Yes, they
hits on
have been.
all the posts, and the Facebook group is growing. Facebook page rather is growing a little bit. So by all means, please, everything you see that you like, if you listen to the episode and you like it, please share it. If you've got a group of hockey folk on your social media that don't follow, then share the page and they can follow it. And as we shared tonight as well, you can still get the Zero Pucks Given ice hockey
Jersey.
jersey,
Yes.
which is tremendous quality, very comfortable, and quite striking as well. We've got a few nice comments on it on Saturday night when I wore it to Slough. So I was expecting to see Alistair Gammond wearing his actually, but he opted for the Slough 40-year anniversary jersey.
Fair enough. Fair play.
But anyway, thanks for your time as always, mate.
Yes, and you, and
I'll see you
you.
next week.
See you next week.